Hey, Professor Reese back with you. Last time we talked about some famous abolitionists who not fought literally, but actually fought through pen and paper, and then some literally, actually, to abolish slavery. So today we're going to talk about some of the rebellions that occurred. And within the rebellions, these all became before the Civil War. So it wasn't like the Civil War and then we as a people decided to rebel. No, this all became before. Rebelling because we had gotten tired of the institution of slavery and wanted to see something done differently. Now, a couple of these rebellions, got really, really violent. So there you go. All right, rebellions. Before the Civil War, Frederick Douglass, he's my guy. Here's his quote. "If there is no struggle, there is no progress." And that's within life itself. If there is no struggle, then there is no progress. So we're going to look at our top rebellions. Once again, my scholars were like, oh, let's put that one in there. That's really okay, I'll try to give you my reasoning as we go along. Rebellion number one, the Stono Rebellion. This rebellion happened around 1739, and it was the largest because it targeted 13 colonies. 20 slaves under this gentleman named Jimmy. He provided whites with a painful lesson. What we've got here, kids, is we've got Africans who were bought over from Angola, which were trained in weaponry, in fighting, that were part of this rebellion. So they were doing pretty good in terms of winning the rebellion. It was more than a week before colonists finally came in, got everything settled in terms of killing most. A lot of them escaped to Fort Mose, and they ended up executing 50 or more of the rebel slaves. The largest rebellion. Rebellion number two, I think everybody's heard about this one, Gabriel's conspiracy. We're talking about Gabriel Prosser, Prosser. He took on his owner's name. That was the plantation that he worked on. This rebellion happened in Richmond, Virginia. Gabriel was strong in stature. He was a skilled blacksmith. And here's the really dangerous thing. Gabriel could read and write. How do you keep a person down? Break that spirit. Once you educate, I become a danger, right? Okay, so Gabriel was a pretty tough guy. Now, he decided, formulating this plan, let's go ahead, along with his brother, and fight for our freedom. This was, like I say, in Richmond, Virginia. So, why did this have to happen? The rebellion was planned. The day of the rebellion, a serious thunderstorm took place and wiped out a lot of roads, which back then you didn't have roads anyway. You mostly had ground, nothing was paved. He had about 25, African Americans that were worth about $9,000 with him. They were caught by the militia, and unfortunately, Gabriel was hung. But do you get where we're going with this? People are beginning to say, enough is enough. Okay, German Coast Uprising. Don't pay any attention to the name. It has nothing to do with Germany at all. We're talking about the Haitian Revolution that happened. This revolution happened in New Orleans, led by Charles de la Sandes. Like I say, about 1811 out of New Orleans. Excuse me. He was a driver of a sugarcane plantation. He got together about 25 folks who said, you know what? We're going to put an end to this. So he ended up attacking the plantation owner and the family, or his family, the owner's family. Unfortunately, they killed many, but the master of the plantation managed to escape. So South Carolina Congressman, slave master, and Indian fighter Wade Hampton was assigned to suppress this insurrection, and which they did. They brought in, once again, the militia, the army. It took them 2 days to stop the rebels. But at the end of it all, Gabriel lost, along with the folks that was with him, and was killed. But here's what's really horrific about the whole situation. With the individuals, the slaves that they managed to capture, they beheaded them and put their heads on sticks that aligned the road that they had tried to start the insurrection on. So very, very violent. So as you can see, really, America's built on violence. Okay, so then we've got Nat Turner's rebellion. Everybody knows about this one. I remember when I was in middle school, Nat Turner was really all I think I learned about in terms of rebellion, resurrection, and what have you. Okay, this occurred around the 1830s. It's funny how we just talked about Gabriel. This insurrection happened a week before Gabriel's insurrection. So, Nat Turner out of Virginia decided that, you know what, we're going to go ahead and hit the state capitol in Virginia. We are going to take the leader of Virginia at that particular point in time. Unfortunately, the militia was brought in to attack Turner and his men. They were captured rather quickly. But here's the thing, Nat Turner hid, and actually for 30 days, he wasn't captured. After they did seize him, they wanted to take him to court, ruled all that out. The insurrection or the mob said, nah, we're not going to do it that way. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take Nat Turner and make an example. We're going to go ahead and skin him. We're going to distribute parts of his body as souvenirs to individuals. And then we're going to take the rest of the body and make grease out of it. Horrific. The Gullah Wars. Now, this is one of my favorites, and I'll tell you why. I actually knew nothing about the Gullah Wars before I became a teacher. And the other position is this. The Gullah Wars were probably one of the largest wars as well, because there were several wars associated with it. But you never hear enough about the Gullahs and the Black Seminoles. So here's how we have it. Remember my wonderful country of Sierra Leone? Yes, you do. Okay, off of the western coast of Africa. Gullahs are Africans from the western coast of Sierra Leone. Some of them were taken over to Georgia and South Carolina. The individuals, or shall I say, the owners of plantations in Georgia and South Carolina, they didn't understand how to grow, how to cultivate, how to fertilize rice. So they knew that these people did. So bring them over to the Carolinas, have them cultivate, fertilize, grow rice for us, and we'll enslave them just like we do everybody else. But the thing about it was, the Gullahs, here we go, didn't like the conditions, decided to escape from slavery. So what they ended up doing was escaping down to Florida. I don't know how many of you have been to Florida, but Florida back in this time was, of course, not really civilized. A lot of swamp, a lot of hanging trees, very, very rough in terrain, swamps, all that good stuff. So the Gullahs escaped. They were now called Black Seminoles, not Seminole Indians, folks, but the offshoot of the Gullah was called Black Seminoles. Now, within this region, there were Indians. There were some Indians there. They got with the Gullahs and decided, hey, We're going to fight for this territory, this land. The Spaniards, they claimed Florida, but here we go. Not going to stay that way because good old Andrew Jackson said, we're going to come in and we're going to take Florida. We want it. We want it as part of these United States. Well, the Gullahs and the Seminoles said, oh, we don't think so. So they pushed back, and eventually ended up, after several wars, ended up defeating Andrew Jackson for that territory. So if you ever get an opportunity to read about the Gullah Wars, please do so. Very fascinating history. Here's a picture of individuals or slaves that had volunteered to be part of the Civil War, fought for a country that wasn't even ours. And lastly, we close with that African proverb, and the one for today is, personalities and fame pass. The revolution must go on. Freedom is never given, it is won. So that's going to be it for today. Next time we're going to talk about the Reconstruction era and the Jim Crow era and move on from there. Thank you so much for joining. It's been fun. Have a good day. Bye now.